Instead of that, we're going to go ahead and start our lecture, our presentation tonight. And I'm going to start by just saying that Mark Fanick is one of the most popular speakers our group has ever had. Sometimes when I introduce him over the last few years, I cry. I don't know why I cry. I just like him that much. He's pathetic. I'm sorry. Give me a tissue. No, I will tell you this, that after Mark, years ago, after Mark graduated from high school, he thought he was going to go to college to learn about plants. And his grandfather, who owned Fanick's Garden Center at the time, he caught wind of that and he said, "Why do you want to go to school to learn about plants when you could just stay right here on the property and learn everything you need?" And so he did. And he's been taking his grandpa's classes much of his life. That's when I start crying usually, is when I talk about the grandpa classes. He's been at this job for, I wrote 44 years, but I think that's wrong now, Mark. Is it wrong?
I'm afraid so.
It's more than 44 years because I wrote this forever ago. And he loves what he does. When you listen to him talk, you never think, oh, this man is working. You're thinking, oh, this man is loving plants. He tells me, he told me one time, and this is when I start crying, that he is getting paid to go to class about plants every day.
Oh yeah, that was the handout I saw today.
Okay, so let's welcome Mark Fanick. Maybe?
Yep.
Maybe?
Yep.
He's going to talk about fall garden. And I didn't cry this time, so proud of him.
He's got his own hat.
Cover the bald head.
Yes, sir.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Fantastic.
All right. We got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. It'll be all fun though.
You brought tomatoes.
Yeah. Did he bring tomatoes?
Yeah, well, yeah, yes and no. I have a couple. Our truck did not show up on Wednesdays as it always does for the last 10 years. They had to make an exception for tonight and not show them until tomorrow. So. All right. So everybody has a copy, I guess, of the gardening calendar. Is it up there yet, or is it?
We didn't expect this crowd, so I think some people may not have one. I think we might. Yeah. Okay. We're going to make more copies. Try to make about 15. You know, in August, we don't always get a crowd like this. I mean,
Well, that's because we have.
Here it comes.
Mark, that's right, we have Mark speak.
It wasn't because of you,
Wasn't because of me.
because of you.
This is really something to eat, something to drink coffee out of.
Before you get started, his grandpa developed the Texas Blue Giant fig. I bought one. This is the first year. This thing, I'm talking, that's 3 figs. You cannot eat one just in one bite. Well, I can, but I would not recommend it.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that Blue Giant, I love it.
It is one of
Look at that.
It is a monster fig. It is a fig that gets up to that big.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
So you have to have a big mouth.
Or take more than one bite.
He has a big bag.
All right.
Oh, yeah. It gets 20, 18
Okay, so I guess before I get started, we're outside, right? We're going to put our sunscreen on. We're going to change our hat because we're supposed to be talking about, what, fall gardening?
There you go.
There's nothing fall about fall gardening at this point, is there? So, you know, it's you know, the longest running plant that we have to put in the ground is your tomato, right? So the tomatoes need 70 days. The problem is they need 70 or 80 days. The problem is they won't set flowers until the temperature is between these 2 points. That won't happen until nearly October. So you all know, like, you know, we all want the biggest tomato, right? Springtime, go for it. Fall, you rely on your cherry tomatoes that you planted in the spring. They're going to carry over, and anything under 3 ounces. So this time of year, don't go above no more than 6, 8 ounces of fruit. Don't try to go for the 1 pounders. You're not going to do it. You just don't have time. You won't make it. You're going to have green tomatoes. It's just that season, you know, when that ripening time comes in, it is a short window, and then when that clock goes to the ripening point, now it is, daylight's getting, you know, less and less, the heat's going down, and they don't want to energize anymore. You feed them, you're watering them, and they're just green, okay, or if they're saying it at all. So, I recommend, unless I love, you know, doing raised beds and ground, sometimes I think in fall, you're probably better off doing a container gardening, at least some, for a lot of reasons. So we put our good soil in there, get cement seeds in there. This is your portable plant, because you will eventually come through a day that you're going to have to hide it. But it's going to be your, we're going to call it your edible landscape. Now, why did I pick out a purple cage? Because it's close to the truck, quite good. So you make whatever color, you make your landscape, make this, it can be orange, red, yellow, silver, but you know, when you're gardening, let's make this thing fun, let's add color. So, you know, you're out there, people come out to your house and go to the backyard, you know, yeah, they gravitate to your flowers and so forth, but you find a lot of them gravitate right into the vegetable garden. They want to see, what did you grow? What's your fruit crop? What did you do this season? How did you do it? So this gardening calendar, is something we made up. It has, these are all seed days. And lettuce you see, where's it at? Tomato plants. You'll see where it says plants. Okay, so it says plants, obviously it says plants. If you want to do seed, we back up as much as 5 or 6 weeks before that. So the growers have been growing plants already back in nearly late June and July, trying to get some kind of plant going for spring. So it's a continuation of, there's no stopping at the grower side. As soon as they're stopping one season, they're preparing for the next season. Our problem again is the time, because we don't know what's on the horizon. When's the first cold front? When's the first freeze, right? We're all dressed up like this, and then one day, you know, it's going to come down. So a lot of people get scared that their plants burning up, and they have concern for that. So it may be a good idea to put screen cloth over your plants. Screen cloth works best when it's about 3 to 4 feet above the plant, because you know, all you want to do is put a little shade on it, take about 30% of that sting off the hot air. They still need the sunlight, the photosynthesize, to bring into the plant so they can grow. And so, you know, if you go too high, the sun's coming in between, you know, morning till say 11, and by 2 o'clock, you know, the sun, so you only gave them about 2 hours to break the heat of the day. So you may have to do this first a little off the ground, a little bit more. Never drape over the plant like this, because that's too much shade. So make sure it's up higher, because, you know, again, you can see through, but you know, once you get close to it, you know, it starts to fog up there. So shade clothing is a little bit important. Again, watering, hydration, and fertilizer. We've got to feed. I grow a lot of plants in full sun that shouldn't be in full sun, and people say, how are you doing it? I says, because everybody does better on a full belly, right? So your plants will too. So feed, keep them healthy, keep them going. There's going to be a point when we're going to be knocking this hat off, and we're going to put this jacket back on. The cold front's coming, right? Okay. So we're on the way to the fall. Yeah, it's going to be a while yet. Now,
Before we know it.
before you know it, then you go to this one. Okay. This is called frost fabric. So frost fabric is not a heater. So frost fabric does not go into the cage until we're near a frozen state. So you got, the weatherman says it's going to freeze in 3 days. Okay. Now you know how it is. The 2 days or day before the freeze comes in, it's 100 degrees, right? Before the cold front comes in. So we can't do this. We can't block the air. We can't suffocate it. So you're going to all go out there like me. There's a blizzarding wind. You have to be settling down the room like that, right? You're fighting all this stuff, and it's just hurts. So just be prepared, because it's not going to be fun. just like when we do our pipes at the end of the year. You know, we don't rub our pipes until it's about 20 below. So it's the same thing. So we got a lot of, you got time to prepare your gardens. We unfortunately, September is August and October, September, and so forth. They're all off by 1 month. And so we just repeat these months, and then finally we come into December when it's finally the cold spell. So you've got plenty of time to be prepared, get your supplies all set to the side. Again, I think a tub is the best way to go, because you set this out there by the sun next to your garage or whatever greenhouse, if you like to have a greenhouse, and you're gonna roll it in. It's only cold for 2 days the first time. Then it goes back out again, wait for 2 weeks, you're gonna roll back in again, you go back outside, you're gonna do that off and on. And if you do that, you will slowly ripen your tomatoes. Now that's just the one crop we're talking about. There's a whole bunch of crops out there, but that's the one that, it seems like everybody in the fall, seems like, oh, look what I raised. That's my biggest one I could raise for the fall. And that's what I'm saying. I think, don't get so excited on the big tomato. Don't go buying big ones out there, big boys and all that kind of stuff. Look for the small ones. Necessarily have to be Romas, but your cherry tomatoes, we ran out of tomatoes last year, and we had a fajita night. You'd be surprised how good cherry tomatoes taste on fajita, right? Banana peppers, all that kind of stuff. Don't think you have to have the big slices on there. Your weakest tomato at your house will be 10 times better than HEB. So don't get alarmed at, oh, it's not my prettiest one. We had a tomato contest a couple years ago at the nursery. And I walked up, and it was not a great turnout, it was kind of a medium turnout. And he brought some tomatoes, they're all spotted up and this. He said, I'm not gonna win. I said, no, you never know. He won. Because he had quality. He looked at his plant, yeah, I had some spots on there. He didn't win the beauty contest, but the fruit looked superb and inside texture, and so they were plump and full, and so he won. So it's just, surprising. Now, again, I'm glad it's HEB because I just starved myself sometimes, but this is a pepper from HEB, right? It is not dark green. It doesn't look healthy to me. This is what we're buying. When you pick fruit early, you took it from its mama. The nutrients did not arise in this plant. It's still coming in. So you lost your vitamins, you lost all the good stuff, your magnesium, all that stuff. Everything makes this thing grow nice and dark green. The chlorophyll, all the minerals are back with mama. You're eating something, and you paid $1.80 a pound, but you really didn't get what you paid for. So it's very, very important to keep your crops healthy, growing. Stay out of HEB as long as you can. And I know I live there too. I feel like I can't have a certain meal without having some kind of fruit color or eating some vegetables. The other thing is, what are they spraying on? Like kind of coating. It needs to look pretty, right? As a consumer, we go up there and we look at this. It's out there nice and pretty, all stacked up. It's got a blemish. I'm not gonna buy it. So we do it to ourselves when we want all this perfect fruit. So they make it perfect by putting extra coatings, waxes, all kinds of stuff on this. So what do you digest? So your plants are out there in the hot sun, getting all those nutrients built inside there and making you healthy. So when you buy tomato plants, sometimes people come in, now this is called early girl. Why did I say early girl? Because it's going to be early, right? So we want something that's going to produce fast and quick. And again, not big size. Now this one is a Juliet. If you had planted Juliet in the spring, you would still have them all around you on the ground. You'd be stepping on them, cursing them, you're going to slip on them. They don't quit. She goes and goes and goes. But she's bulletproof. I mean, she's just nothing happens to her. So you should always plant at least one cherry, like a Juliet or large cherry, something like that. You should put in medium ones, could be Roma, could be early girl, could be something a little smaller. Then you want to go to celebrity tycoon, which I like tycoon. We do that. But you build up your sizing on multiple fronts. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket on one size. Somebody's going to make. It may take all three to make something, or maybe you have to rely on one. And when you go to the nursery, when's your new crop coming in? Why do you want a new crop for? Why do you want a 2-inch baby? You want the big guys because they have better roots. You're going to pick these leaves off here, and you're not going to plant them deep. Now the pot, if you do a potting soil like that, you can't. If you use like Fox Farm potting soil, which is what I always recommend, I love that stuff. But if you go into the ground, the garden, we're not going to go deep, we're going to go sideways. because the ground is hard and stiff down below. These roots can't get out and grow. But if you lay them horizontal, every spot that this plant touches will root. In 3 weeks, you'll have roots off this in the soil from here and all around here. And then that right away, now you've increased your roots by 4-fold. Now you've got a massive power plant. Okay? Now you've got big root system. It's going to grow, get healthy. More hands, you take me out there, all you can eat thing, and then give more hands, I can pull a lot of food in, right? So if I have more roots, more hands, I pull more nutrients. So don't buy the small ones, buy the big ones. You need the time. All right, so there's that. Okay, if you haven't done buy your seed, and we're going to this over here again to squashes. You have time for a lot of plants. You've got time for squash, you've got time for beans, you've got time for okra, still okay. Let's keep going up pretty quick though. Okra needs the hot weather. As hot as it is, and some plants are going to have it a little tough, okra takes the heat. And you can make a crop go all the way in the fall, but you've got to get okra going now. You need a big tall plant to get it going. Okra has a couple things that goes wrong with it, which is normally a few bugs on top, normally it's aphids. So when you see your fire ants climbing up and down the okra stalk, that means you have bugs on top, you have aphids. And they're actually taking the aphids and they're like cattle, so they're moving them from this plant and taking them to this plant because they'll make a honeydew on their back and the ants love that dew. And so when you're spraying, you're not spraying for the ants, you're spraying for the bugs on top, which are aphids. So keep an eye on that. Bugs. The bugs won't destroy everything you're doing. So when we mix this stuff in the ground, this product here there's 3 products that I like. This is my favorite one, the Fox Farm Soil Conditioner. If you've never tried it, I've always said this 100 times in my classes here as jokes that this is marijuana people, marijuana people do it right, so it's gonna grow. Don't smoke it though. But this has back guano, it has good compost in it. You mix it 50-50 in the ground. If you fail at this, then you have to retire from the garden class. But good compost makes a difference, right? People who fail gardening is that they weren't ground preparing. The foundation of every good house, right, has to be good. The house will fold, it'll collapse. So having a good foundation, good soil, good nutrients. A lot of these fertilizers, I say all the time, if you took me and say, what do you want to eat at, Mark? I say, let's go to Roof Steakhouse. Because why? It's high quality, right? You're paying a little bit more, but good quality. It's not McDonald's. It's not the junky food, right? So your plants want that good stuff too. They know what to tell you. You do your own test. You try a cow, a chicken, and a back guano contest, and alfalfa. You'll find alfalfa and back guano, your plants will be much healthier than the other two. And it's just because of food quality. There's just more stuff for them to have. There's different hormones, all kinds of things. Trichotinol, and then alfalfa, it's a growth hormone. All that stuff helps plants develop bigger root systems. And again, it's the big root, big pump. If you go into the soil, then either the brown or blue of the same thing. Fox Farm again, right? Ocean forest. So we all read about in high school Indian, right? But Indian heads, Indian fish heads in the ground when you plant it right. Fish. Fish is the highest protein besides the back guano. But this has more of fish products in it. So it's another source. So if you have enough to spend on if you took the conditioner and this together, you'd make a superb potting mix. I mean, you'd have the back guano, the fish, the plant, it would reduce, adding a good compost in your soil reduces the cost of this mix back. Okay. So when you have soil like Miracle Grow or Kellogg's or Jungle Growth, there's all kinds of brands out there, right? New Earth. People have trouble with the plants growing, they bring their leaves in, or we look at the plant by pictures, and we say, well, it doesn't have anything, there's no nutrients. So now you need to buy this back early on when you could have held off. Okay, so now you're pumping a handful every 3 weeks, continuously, because now you're playing catch up. Because while this person's plants now are this tall, you're still struggling with this little plant, because we didn't start off with a good foundation to begin with. And again, what's on our thing? Timetable. It's a timetable. Spring, you've got much longer. I know the heat comes in, but when that freeze comes in, there's no forgiving. I mean, that's it. When that freeze comes in, if it's in the ground, you can't cover it, that's when the garden shuts down. Except, we're going to go into, so when fall comes in, whenever we think that is, but the calendar is going to tell us somewhere around September 15th on, I think, is when you start looking at co-crops. So kale, collard greens, all these leafy guys. You know, again, all this stuff is good for you. How many times I think I saw this week that HEB or other companies, Walmart, are pulling produce back, produce, being pulled back because it's not coming out of the fields clean. The workers have to go somewhere and it's in the field and that causes problems. So, you know, not just washing them off is enough anymore. So, and they're trying to get by using radiation or UV lights and other things to kill off all the junk. Well, you have the means in your own house to have a good garden to at least offset having to go there all the time. And again, you know, this is not about the leaf for being, you know, store-bought, but if you ever grown kale at home, they can be massive leaves. I mean, like almost like palm trees. And again, it's the nutrients. You know, if you eat this and this offends you, you know, kale. I'm not a big kale eater myself. You're not gonna eat it at home then because that's even stronger. But you put bacon, right? Everything tastes good with bacon. But that's not the healthy stuff for you. But still.
Hey, Mark,
Yes, sir.
that kale right there would be real easy to grow in that bucket you got there.
You know it. And if you had to make again, think about that as a pretty like a fern. This is your winter fern. In a landscape.
I'm just saying.
All right. Broccoli. Broccoli is good for you. Keep the doctor away, right? All that stuff. You know, you eat too much, it might keep your friends away too. But broccoli is good for you. Now, the cool thing about broccoli is if you do it right, your first head should be twice as big as this. Right? It should be massive. Look for worms. Okay, if you're lucky, you don't have them. But if you have them, you can spray a product like spinosad or BT. That'll clear out the bugs in there. It's all organic. You know, it won't hurt you. And clear out there. Otherwise, you have to put the salt in there and that kind of thing. You can wash them out. But broccoli is very good for you. It's almost like a tree. What's kind of cool about it is you make your first big head, you pull it off. This crop now will make 3, this size. Okay, now you pull those 3 off, and then you're going to make 5 more half this size. And then you're going to make 10 more about 1/4 the size. Broccoli, right? But 10 of those makes one big head. So your plant, that one plant is going to produce over and over and over again. And the next best part about owning a broccoli plant, if you do it for another reason, is you let the last crop bloom out on purpose. The yellow flowers attract bees like crazy. Right? This is especially for spring crop. As you're growing this and you survived it over into the spring, or you did an early crop for spring, and you let those on purpose. Put them in a spot where you don't mind them growing there. Let them flower. All right, the bees will come right to the broccoli flowers, and you don't have to worry about going up there trying to buy all kinds of fancy flowers to bring them in. You've already got it right here. They're not picky. They want something to eat. And early on, you can't find many flowers. This thing is going full blown. And you got what? Yellow flowers in your edible landscape. Now, head cabbage and cauliflower. Unfortunately, this is a one-time pick.
Yep.
Snap the head off, compost the plant. That's all you can do with it. That's all good for. Or you can make it maybe a sacrifice, put a sign with arrow, say worms come this direction. But we had a guy one time, he lived not too far from the nursery, brought it in the back. This is back when we had Lincolns and big trunks, right? So he popped the trunk open and he said, I want to show you my plant. And it filled the whole trunk. The cauliflower head was that big around. Now, back then we didn't have cell phones. We barely had digital phones. So my brother was trying to go back to the back office and find this Perdeo, not even a full megapixel camera, right? And the guy, he's over talking to the customer, hey, look what I drew. When Michael came back, the head was this big. So he had no picture. But he just got so excited. But it was just showing you that how well his plant grew. And he was so proud of it, and he ate it and ate it, and I mean he just ate it. And so, so the quality is just there. All right, squashes. You have winter squashes too, so we have some different dates, but not by far. So your summer squashes are still good. Get ready for your scallops, your winter squashes. Again, we still gotta be careful with the cold, but there's some that do better at different times. Whichever one, any squash you eat, zucchini is good for you. Pick out the one you like to eat. It's one more thing. You should have your plate color paletted right, so it's not all supposed to be all brown meat. Have some other colors. So add some green and yellow, red, right? all these things, lycopenes and tomatoes, all that stuff is good for your body. You need all the colors, including orange, right? Orange for the carrots. So when you grow in this garden, everybody wants this rainbow of stuff in your body so you can get healthy. You need all that stuff. If it's there, God and nature did it on purpose. Take advantage of it. He give it to you. Someone give it to you. All right. As we're approaching fall, winter, so when you buy a plant called 1015 onion, what do those numbers mean?
The seed is planted October 15th.
There you go. All right. So October 15th is the day you seed most of your onions. You can go a little bit earlier. They just do this one around October 15th. If you do seed them in and you get them spread apart far enough, don't touch them, that's the best way to go. I hate seeding baby seed. I don't do it right. It's a big mess. It looks like a chia pet in my garden. So I buy the bunches and separate them then. But when I buy a bunch, they've been put on the ground, the top's been cut, the bottom's been cut. There's a little bit of a setback, 2 weeks before they get going again, right? So to help them from the setback, you dip them in what I call rock phosphate. Right. Colloidal clay, rock phosphate. That's a product, one of the few products of a fertilizer, we'll call it, that can be in direct contact and needs to be in direct contact with the plant. So you pop that top off, you take your onion, you dip, keep going. And that'll expand those roots and they can grow really fast. It's a low key phosphate that can last up to 2 years in the ground. But unlike superphosphates with converted root systems, this is much safer and it doesn't, so don't mix in the garden. Don't dig a row and put all kinds of stuff down there and waste, $15, whatever things, then, use that for your dipping bucket. Even at the tomato plant next year, whatever, I have a landscaper that takes a big old sponge, he takes his plants and he hits a wet sponge, hits that and goes in the ground. Every plant, flowers, whatever. And so he's got that on the bottom root system right away. But if you want to dust it like you're making flour, that's fine too. All around the plant, it just makes them grow much faster. But rock phosphate, this is a great product. I think onions is a must-have in the onions. You have to have those.
What's the numbers on that, Mark?
This one's, I think, the 030. So like superphosphate would be like 020.
Yeah.
And that one you would put in the ground because you've got to disperse it so it won't burn the plant. But this one, you don't do that. Years ago, Malcolm Beck from Gardenville took a big old 40-pound bag. He split across the whole bag, stuck in, I think it was 12 tomato plants in there to show that it wouldn't burn them. They all grew, they were leggy as heck, but they all grew this tall. It did not burn them at all, not one of them. So it's that safe. There's just no nutrients in there to help them grow, but it's better made of root though.
Gotcha.
So, we got the seeds growing, right? We got our compost in the bed growing. We're sort of on the right track. All right, now, do we want to, how you feel like a little mist in the air on your face when it's hot out there, you feel like you need a little something, right? You're drinking a little Gatorade. Okay, think about making a solution of seaweed extract. So, seaweed extract helps bond the plant leaves, makes them stronger, makes them larger. It is a mild red spider mite repellent, but it's still mild, but it's still something, right? So it's not just I'm spraying it with spider mite, I'm not just spraying it for nutrients, it's a double pack. And again, want it to be spritzed, right? So take your plant, mix it with pump sprayer. Always use a pump sprayer in the gardens nowadays over a hose-on sprayer. The big key reason is cost. A 1 gallon tank sprayer, I can spray all y'all down and wet you with 1 gallon of the tank, of the pump sprayer. If I took a hose-on sprayer, I'd build the first gallon out on this side over here. So I know I need 3 gallons in the same area. Nothing is $1.99 no more. So you need to make your products extend themselves. The chemicals, the organics, whatever it is. So I recommend hardly to buy a pump sprayer or an atomizer machine. You want to get a little fancy like I did, you buy a Ryobi battery powered one. Man, you pop that thing on there and go. It's just, it's the best $100 ever spent. And you go out there, and if you look at how many bottles they didn't go through, I've paid that thing off the first year. So after that, it's all bonus, right? And I get another battery. But it could be, it could be a pump sprayer, tank sprayer. It's just, you have a lot of stuff to spray. At my age, maybe some of y'all, maybe not. On my shoulder, and so.
Take a nap.
Yeah, take a nap in the garden. And so, you know, this with the electric sprayer, we can fog it all out and be done. Right? So again, because it's all about the cost, we're just getting into such expensive stuff nowadays. So before fall comes in, we're going to have some humidity, right? So if tomato plants, if some other plants get white powdery mildew, anthrax, black spot, whatever, fungicide 5 is a bacteria that destroys cell walls of fungal strands. I make a joke, there's another brand out there that I carry called Jungle Jack, and I think I told you all this before, but Jungle Jack, it was founded, this stuff was founded in a rum container. They found dead bugs in it. You know, I thought they just died from overdose, you know, from alcohol, from rum. But actually, it fermented a bacteria that killed them. So when you're finding all this kind of stuff out there, all these bacterias are being formed. There's a spinosad bacteria, there's a fungal bacteria, but these bacteria are so cool because they're doing different things. This one's doing the fungal thing, the other one, the spinosad, is doing the bug thing. So you don't have to go out there and use the orthene or the old sprays, right? You don't have to, toxify everything. I don't care what you use, but my rule book is the least toxic one that works. So you go from there. So you make your graph on that. But I think that's extremely very important. Now I like this one called spinosad soap because I've got the bacteria and now I've got a soap compound from it that also does a smothering action to it. So when you're spraying the insect, so we had white flies one time and we tried to spray them, they always flew off. When we did the spinosad soap, when you spray, again, with atomizer, right, you get the bugs wet quickly, you don't realize they're being wet. Like if I spray you, it's not like, again, a fire hose hitting you. If I hear fire hose, you guys would scatter off and run through and break a leg and get out of here. But if I atomize you quickly as a mist, you're just being wet and you realize it. And that's what you want to do to a bug. You want to mist them before they realize I've been misted. Then they can't fly, And then by the time, now you've got them. They've got the stuffs on them, they absorb it, smother them, whatever what's going to do. But they're like, oh hell, I'm sorry. I'm dead now. I didn't show them move faster. So, but they didn't realize it. All right, as we approach cooler weather in October, spinach food, right? Popeye, we need spinach. That's the next one. Lettuce is a beautiful plant to grow. Where's the nutrients in it, right? Some red ones are good. Most of them are junk. Iceberg is what? The worthless thing in the world. But we all buy it. We all buy it. It's just a water bag. It's water. It holds water, and it disintegrates, and it does nothing to you at all, right? So spinach has got all the good stuff. It's got the iron. It's got all the green stuff, right? Magnesium. It's good for you. Spinach. It's got a good roughage, but we have to have cold air. Hot air, this thing will bolt out, and we're done. And that's the problem, right? So we grow spinach. Looks really good. We get some pickings going on. Now the blizzard comes in, right? I got my jacket back on again so it can take the cold, but it can sort of stun it. And then by the time you get out a few rounds of that, well, then we're already like February 15th. The rodeo's in town. We're already out there trying to put t-shirts back on again. So spinach is short-lived. So maybe invest into a dehydrator. Start looking at things. Again, with the cost of food going up. Look at things that can make your foods go longer.
Freeze it too.
Yep, you can freeze it, blanch them. You get the dehydrator, get the freeze dehydration method. And then you get 20 years on some of your stuff. So look at your cost of putting foods back, because if something goes kind of cuckoo in the world or whatever, and COVID-3 happens or whatever, then you're kind of like, okay, sit back into my back room. I got plenty of food. We're all kind of set up here. So. Make sure it's always fresh seed. We're getting close to the time of year where seeds will start turning out. You put a new seed out, so watch your dates, it's on the back there. But again, red, right? So we got red mustard. That's good for, again, red. Man, it's all green. Put red in your system, red cabbage. Beets, multicolors, okay? So, I'm not a big fan of beets, I eat some. But I should eat more. But anyway, so we got beets. Same thing, you're putting in more stuff inside. There's your carrots, okay? We don't sell 6-packs or 4-packs of carrots, that's silly. Put it out there by yourself. And it makes a beautiful fern bed. It's just a gorgeous bed. And in Texas, don't think I have to have 2-foot-long carrots. Buy the fingers and antes. You just need the small ones. And our hard clay soil, they'll stay straight for the first 3 or 4 inches. After 4 inches, unless you've got a super great bed, they're gonna like that. You know, and nobody wants to peel crooked carrots. So get the one called nannies. They're just nice little straight ones. All right, then the
How do you
cabbage.
know that we don't want crooked carrots?
Well, you might want them. I don't know. You never know. All right, cabbage, head cabbage, leaf cabbage. You've got all kinds of cabbages. Again, cabbages are good for you too. You know, it's just everything you eat makes your body stronger. We did cauliflower. Okay, so on now turnips. Ugh, I hate turnips in the house. That's one food. Mom put the turnips in the house. I was gone. I found some friend to stay the night with. That house stunk. But they're good for you too. But when you're doing leafy turnips, greens, make sure you're buying the one called 7-top. 7-top has a tiny bottom, but grows a beautiful big leaflet. So you want 7-top as your leafy one. So if you don't want to eat the roots and stink the house up, then stink the house up with the leaves instead. Mustard greens, okay? You got smooth and rough types. All right? Why do you not like them? Why don't want the rough one? Because it's full of sand and dirt. You know, I don't care how much you take the car wash and a power hose, you still can't get that sand off. So a lot of people like the smooth ones because they wash easy and it's not all caught up in there, you know. But again, it's your texture and you know what you like to eat. You know, I have a friend that's from Louisiana and man, she eats all kinds of stuff I wouldn't touch because I just.
Poke salad.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, boy.
Same thing with radishes, okay? You want a little spice in your life, right? Radishes. You got icicle round ones. Again, this is a mixed bag, purple, pinks, and whites. So again, you've got color. Maybe the eyeballs will say, you know, well, they like radishes, but look at that pretty plate. It's so colorful, I'm gonna take it anyway. Right. Spinach, again, watch the dates, the dates. It's all about the dates. You cannot miss the dates. Once we're past that point, then you flip that calendar around, then you're on spring now, when you're on the March mode. So the cool thing about, fun thing about growing gardens is, you know, we don't really stop, right? If you think about it, every month there's something going on. You got potatoes in February, you got the onions, you know, in October. You know, you're doing something. Okra's in the summertime. You might be limited, but there's always a growing season. It just never stops. This is BT. So if you don't want to kill your good guys, say Mrs. Ladybug's out there, and she's doing her thing, you know, with the aphids, you know, she's sucking out the aphids' body, blood, you know, so. But I don't want to kill her, but dadgum is a big old worm right next to her. Well, we can do the BT, not hurt the Miss Ladybug, and the worm goes down fast, okay? Spinosad does it too, but Spinosad might get the ladybug, so BT kills worms only. But do we shotgun approach it? No, because you may have monarchs in the area, right? So we're going for the red hornworm, we're going for the cabbage looper. We don't want to shotgun it because you've got good worms, you know. This also helps now in the moth form. There's nasty old asp. So if you're spraying it there, that's okay. Kill all the asp you want. Jerry Parsons had a little thing one time, if I can say it right. He used to always say, if you hated asp, he said you dig a hole and you kick it in the asp hole. So.
He wouldn't say that.
Anyway, I didn't hear that because I don't film either.
He would never say anything like that.
All right, so anyway, so the BT product, right, it's liquefied. If you spray that on cabbage plants or glossy, like a wax job on a car, it's gonna go right off. So BT works good on roughish plants like tomato plants, others go. So when you get to the leafy, smooth leaf plants, go switch to the dust form. Also, it lasts for about a day and a half longer than liquid would too. So dust your plants. Don't put a snowdrift. Don't when you go out there, your plants should not look like this. That's way too much. So the amount of kills it takes to kill them would be if we abandoned this for about a month and you went like low dust, that's all they need. So a small amount. So again, it makes things go better. I put mine on a dust pan and get my little personal fan. If I've done this for a while, then I go like that and make a personal blower. You take a piece of cardboard, just poof it out. If you want to get really wild in a big garden, get the Eagle, whatever brand blower, and just woof, make a cloud and then go south it. But dust, light amounts of dust, whether it's 7, any product, it's not how much you smother them. Might as well step on them after that. It's the fact that they just got it on the leaf. Just a small portion of that product will kill them. But you know, we get kind of crazy, right? We just go. And then your last thing to kill bugs. So the hardest one is stink bugs. Stink bugs, if you catch them young in the little nymph form, the little red guys, you can get them with most of the stuff I mentioned, like spinosad soap, that kind of thing. Once they started turning into the gray form, then you need a vacuum cleaner or a fly swatter, because they're hard to kill. Even with the chemicals, you have to go higher products in there. And stink bugs, you know, they get on certain plants and the fruits, and they make them look warpy and ugly and pimply. And there's just some grossness about eating a spot where he stuck his beak in, and there's this little knotted material inside there. They just don't texture, don't taste good, and it's a mindset. Okay, so your softest chemical from the chrysanthemum flower is pyrethium, right? This little bottle is about $20 for 8 ounces, okay? True pyrethium is hard to get for one main reason, is that it grows in South Mexico and over into portions south of that, where there's many cartels in the area. And there's many cocaine farms, there's many, you know, anyway, so they have to pay these guys and gals a lot of money to go collect these plants, so this jumps up. That's why you see permethrins, resmethrins, those are synthetic forms of this one, but they're not organic. They're all nerve toxins, but you know, I've done it all my life. So I mean, all my life, I never had any problems. So I don't worry about it being a nerve toxin. It's very mild, you know, but it's bad for the bug. The bug will be pushed as well. Okay, so now we did all of our food, and we got our microbes going, and we got our microbe fungi going. So how we keep them happy? We add molasses. So you remember when we either had kids, grandkids, whatever, and you gave them a drink of Kool-Aid, and you said go outside and play, and they ran around like crazy, right? High sugar. So to a microbe, molasses is like Kool-Aid, right? It makes them work faster. That's why when you have a compost pile, you add manure and you add what? Molasses, and all of a sudden you can see it heat up. It's because they're friction, they're moving so fast, and they're eating like Pac-Man. They're going like this to the compost, and all that's happening at a rapid rate, and so it builds heat. But at the same time, it also builds the soil too. The more they break up that bark, that compost, that wood pile, that chip, the mulch on top, all that's being broken down. You know, we don't have the luxury of the big forests like we go up north in Indiana and, you know, and east especially. You know, those are years upon forests crashing down. We don't have that here. We have mesquite trees that crash every so often, and tall Johnson grass. And they don't add anything to our soil. So we need stuff like this, you know, to break up our soil and make things work better. If you, for some reason, let's say, and we all have busy lives, I'm one of them too, and you say, well, I would love to feed all this stuff, but I'm on the move, I'm lucky if I get out there to water, okay. Then the least toxic chemical one is osmocote. So if nothing else, because it's got low salt, it has very low store impact on your microbes and your stuff like that. So you put down a handful of osmocote on each plant, it's done for 4 months. You're done. You can feed it and you walk away. Every time it rains, because you forgot to go out and water, there's some food going to the plant. So it's a continuation, it's a trace of every time you water. It's the same amount as it is today, 3 weeks from now, 2 months from now. It's the same portion going through this. So it keeps the plants nice and healthy also, but again, it depends where you want to go at. But it's just not organic, but it's a great byproduct to use to make plants grow. All right, let's see, I think all I did anything here. Okay, so let's talk about some herbs real quick. Because I can cook a really good steak and a really good brisket, it tastes like shoe leather. Because, not because it is like shoe leather, it just tastes like shoe leather. Because I didn't season it properly. I don't season well, and I need to learn my herbs better. I need sages, I need chives, I need, well, here's okra, we're gonna do that for brisket. But we need, you know, but we need all these plants, because, you know, it doesn't matter what you go out there, whether it's oregano, you know, and again, think about this oregano. So some of these plants, this one would be a nice potted plant too. I like oregano and thyme in hanging baskets, because again, I'm hanging around the garden, up by the porch. What's not on them? Dirt, right? Because you're gonna water those more softly. And so they're not splashing as much. And when you hang them aside, they're not dirty. So when you clip these off, it's not on the ground where the rain threw all the mud on top, you know, and they're full of junk. So these are clean plants, but they make great hanging baskets. Again, you're landscaping in the wintertime, and you realize it's like, I'm landscaping and I'm just growing a crop. So, but it's all about, you know, again, make that plant taste good. I mean, chives, right? You're gonna grow your potatoes, right? So when we get in towards January, you'll start seeing potatoes coming in. You're gonna grow them up to the eyes, and then once you get them in the ground and you go with the season, when they bloom out and purple flowers are on top, then you break them open. You need your sour cream, right? You need a little bit of butter, probably. You need your chives. You need that stuff to fill that potato there. It's about flavor. You want to add a little flavor because I think as we get older, our diet's got to change. We can't eat all the stuff we used to eat. So we're looking for things to eat healthier, but we need to get the flavor buds going because a bad diet is a bad diet, right? You'll fail on a bad diet, but if it's got flavor, you'll stay on a bad diet.
To stay on that bad diet.
We did a basil show back in spring. What's cool about most basils is if you do it right on most varieties, you're going to buy it from me just one time. Because see all the seed heads on top there, all that brown stuff? Okay. So a lot of basils, and there's a baby one right there coming up. Most basils will seed themselves, especially the African blue one. It's really cool. But even sweet basils, they will seed themselves. You can grab them. You always put seed in a brown bag, right? You can kind of crush them out there, kind of a very tiny seed. Put them in a little brown bag, whatever, envelope. Put them in the refrigerator, not freezer. Refrigerator, they can last 5 years. Okay. So you collect your own seeds, like the old Crawford lettuce, the old okra that Parkinson brought out there. If you get heirloom plants and you keep collecting your seeds and you keep refrigerating them, we broke out cans that were 20 years old before, and I still got a decent 70% crop. So refrigerated, all they think in their mind is it's been one long winter. Long winter. But again, basil, right? You're gonna throw some noodles out there and some pasta or whatever, you know the recipes. But you're up there searching for in the cabinet looking for all kinds of spice racks and stuff, and you got the plant right there. It's fresh. It's not, So think about your garden again. It's all out there right there for you, and it's fresh. It's healthy. You put what you want on there. I think sage is a cool looking plant too. Nice, little sage on your crops. I think that's just the kind of way to go. Again, seasoning. It's all about seasoning. So, we're done with this for the season, right? That's gone. So when that tomato plant's gone, that is a good spot to put your potatoes in. A raised bed, potted thing for potatoes. And the reason I say that is because when they do get to the flowering point and they made the crop, you just kick the can over and they're all right there, pull them out. No more, no digging, no whatever. They're right there. There's, you guys have all kinds of stuff here, but on our webpage, you go to the calendar events, there's always talks. When you have your county agents over here, we have, David at ours, and, everybody should go to everybody's county, and because everybody has a different opinion. My talk tonight is different than the next person's coming in, and everybody has opinions, and nobody's right or wrong. It's just there's opinions, and you click all the information, and you try them all, and the one that works for you, that's the one you go with. But if you don't try them all, you'll never know. So you just have fun with that. Just keep listening and information. You guys are lucky. You have good people here, and y'all do a lot of stuff. It's like the mushroom compost thing, right? So you try mushroom compost. You plant out there and you grow it, and you go, wow, look at this stuff, or whatever. But you won't know if you don't grow it. You put it in there. You try different things. You put it in your fall tomatoes. You put it on your other plants. I have not tried it for the yard. Maybe try to put a little thin layer on that dead grass that had problems. Try a little and see how the grass grows through it. Again, everything was out there for us to use. It's just where do we use it the most, and where do you want to find an answer for it at? But it's a great product. As fall comes in, the only fruit tree that really needs help on an early spray schedule is when your peach tree has dropped about 70% of the foliage. This is the time you apply your dormant oil spray. So dormant oil spray is a thin paraffinic oil type product. It goes along the stem, and all the little bugs that were hiding from you in the bark, it coats them, smothers them. Then you stop it. So there's no spring wake up, and then you're back to chemicals again. So dormant oil spray is kind of one of the best products out there. It's not done like it used to be. For everything, it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But if you're really trying to make sure that plant doesn't get scaled, doesn't have these kind of problems, dormant oil spray is really, really good for your fruit trees. And then you learn more, like when we do, we have Larry Stein coming out in February-ish, January, late January, and he does